Welcome in to the Roll Tide Rewind. We appreciate you joining us here today, wherever and whenever you may be listening or watching. We thank you. Roll Tide Rewind, we're back to posting more football videos since the basketball season is over. And the first one we're going to talk about is Yhonzae Pierre. Yhonzae Pierre is a returning starter for Alabama. He was one of Alabama's best defensive players last year. Is he in line to be an All-American this year? Alabama hasn't had an All-American linebacker since Dallas Turner, and then before him, Will Anderson. But what could Alabama have in store with Yhonzae Pierre? We're going to go over some things real quick. We're also going to dive into film. That'll be a majority of the video today is looking at film. But first, let's talk about Yhonzae Pierre for just a little bit. Redshirt junior, he's a native of Alabama. He was behind Quay Russaw in the lineup last season, but eventually took over due to injuries to Quay Russaw, and then Yhonzae Pierre came in and never gave up the position. It was kind of like in 2021 when to start the year, Chris Allen was returning in his role. He gets hurt in the first game. Drew Sanders comes in, plays pretty well. Then he gets hurt. Then Dallas Turner comes in, and Dallas Turner never gave up the starting position. And look what Dallas Turner is doing now. So kind of a similar thing here. But Yhonzae Pierre also produced a lot in his time of starting. He's a redshirt junior this year. He was a redshirt sophomore last year, so he already had 2 years into Alabama before he got to play. But one thing with Alabama moving forward is in 2021 to 2023, this is the 3 years we had Will Anderson for 21 and 22, and then Dallas Turner in 21, 22, 23. But Alabama had a player with 10 or more sacks each season. Will Anderson had, I think, 17 and a half in 2021. Then he had over 10 in 2022. And then Dallas Turner had, I believe, 10 in 23. And then since then, we've had no guys with at least 10 sacks in the Kalen DeBoer era. Now, you don't have to have 10 sacks to be an impressive pass rusher, but the production has dropped off a little bit, especially going to the 2024 sack leader was Jahad Campbell, a middle linebacker. He had 5, but we went from having a guy, the leader was 10, to then we dropped it down to 5. Last year, Pierre actually led the team with 8 sacks. He also had 14 and a half tackles for loss. He actually had no sacks in his entire career at Alabama before last season. Then he rattles off 8. He was also in the 2026 NFL draft. He was rated by some as a top 5 outside linebacker. So he had potential, but he decided to come back for Alabama for his redshirt junior year. And I'd be surprised if we get a redshirt senior year. I think he has the potential to show out a lot this year. Also, with the 8 sacks, he had 3 forced fumbles. Great player. He shows a lot of potential, and I think he's one of those players that's kind of back that doesn't have to worry about his starting position. So let's dive into the film. This film is from Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson. I have to make sure I don't mix up with the other company that has a similar name, but Cover Crimson, Clint Lamb, be sure to check him out. Clint Lamb is incredible for Alabama football content, Alabama football film. He's the guy. That's Clint Lamb. So I just wanted to give him props. But let's start by watching some film. You do see the Cover Crimson logo on the bottom. I guess I could have looked at that. But this is against Wisconsin. Alabama runs a really good stunt here. We'll go back. But you see Deontay Lawson is going to shoot towards the tackle, and then Yhonzae Pierre is going to go from here and then wrap around. The goal here on this play, let me go back to the beginning of it, is you kind of want to create an opening in this A-gap, the right A-gap. So between the center and the guard, and this is kind of like one, you would call it when they line up here, it's like a one technique, but the gap is the A-gap. You have the A, the B, and the C. You want to open this A-gap. How you open it up is you get your nose guard here, and you want to take the center more towards this side of the field. And that's exactly what we do there. We're also running a stunt on this side too. But we'll go back to the beginning. We'll take the center out of the way. Deontay Lawson is going to push this guard and the tackle kind of in the same spot. Now, Deontay Lawson's bound to make this play too. If these guys kind of guess that we're stunting, they can maybe overlap a little too much, allowing Deontay Lawson to break right through this gap. But the goal is you want the guard or the nose guard to take the center over here. You want Lawson to push this guard this way and allow Yhonzae Pierre easy access. And he has such good form here on his cuts. And yeah, that's good form. Like all of it here is good. It's just the way that the speed that he does it, but the technique is also beautiful too, and it allows it to be a beautiful play. We'll go into the Georgia game. No stunts really here. This is just Yhonzae Pierre doing it by himself. Tackle slips right under him. Oh, excuse me, there is a stunt here. I was thinking of another play. But James Smith is going to go at this guard. Yhonzae Pierre is going to act like he's going at this tackle, and then he's going to get right under him, and he's able to slip in front of the center. Georgia actually covers this well. It's just Yhonzae Pierre gets by it and does really, really well and causes – this was a 3rd and goal that turned into a 4th and goal. Georgia ended up scoring because Alabama had a penalty, but it's a good stop on a 3rd and goal. Back to the Georgia game we go. Yhonzae Pierre is kind of lined up as almost like a middle linebacker. He's moved around. He's not just an edge guy. He's in the wolf position, which the wolf position in Alabama's defense is an outside linebacker that can drop back into coverage, but also they can play around. They move around, and you see here this is where he's lined up to start the play. He's not at the edge. He's kind of almost like an extra middle linebacker of sorts. So he's kind of moving around. This is a play Georgia's trying to get to Zachariah Branch. They want him to be in space, speedster, to get him out in the open. But watch what Yhonzae Pierre does here. Senses the play from the start and blows that play up for like a 7-yard loss. Gets by Oscar Delp and the tackle here. It's actually a pulling guard. But, yeah, kind of blows the play up. Going to the next play here, also in the Georgia game. Here he is kind of lined up in a middle linebacker role. Right behind the tackle, the defensive tackle, and he helps blow up the play there. Bray Hubbard also does a fantastic job on this play. But Yhonzae Pierre does not allow Oscar Delp to kick him out here. He does a really good job of holding his ground and making sure that the play is not made by the running back there. This is against Vanderbilt. Yhonzae Pierre should have had a pretty good game against Vanderbilt. But you see how Alabama's formations and defense are so wonky. You have nose guard, you have a defensive end, Yhonzae Pierre, and then you also have 2 middle linebackers lined up, basically on the same guy. Then Bray Hubbard is down in the middle. You have Xavier Mincy at the top, Keon Sapp right here. But it's because Alabama just is very finicky with their formations because they want to cause confusion. But they only bring one of those linebackers, and Yhonzae Pierre so close to making the sack here. They even bring Cedric Alexander here for extra help, but he doesn't really do super much on this play to help Diaco Pavia out. But, yeah, that's speed by Yhonzae Pierre. All that is just speed. Next play here is a really good, if I remember correctly, this is a really good run stop by Yhonzae Pierre. Yeah, it is. So this is a 3rd and 2, I think, if I remember correctly. It's a read option play for Diaco Pavia. He's not really, I don't feel like he's reading. He's definitely not reading Yhonzae Pierre on this play. But Yhonzae Pierre holds his ground and is quick. And also a good job by the corner over here. I think it's Damani Jackson. Yeah, it's a good play by him and Bray Hubbard too. But Yhonzae Pierre blows this play up from the beginning because Diaco Pavia has to bounce it outside, and Damani Jackson has good inside leverage here. Yeah, he beats the pulling fullback tight end here to the edge, and that's a win for Alabama on that play. I think this play is later in the game when Vanderbilt's trying to pass the ball to get back into the game. Yhonzae Pierre right here on the right side. This is a really good start. You get the tackle to bite on the outside and it allows you to cut in front of that gap. Yep, that's just a really good play. And Justin Jefferson ends up getting the sack here, but the pressure is way too much for Pavia to handle. Cedric Alexander does actually a really good job here getting Yhonzae Pierre out of this play, but it doesn't matter when Justin Jefferson is also running free. You have 2 guys that are running free. So when you have 2 guys running free and guys watching, that's a good sign. But it's just a great get off by Yhonzae Pierre. That's what the NFL teams will love to see. We got some more film to go, but that's what I like to do. Yhonzae Pierre, he had a really good game against South Carolina. This player right here, bull rushes the tackle a little bit here, almost gets the Lenore Sellers. Nothing crazy special about this play, except that he's pretty strong because that tackle's over 300 pounds, and he just pushes him right back to Lenore Sellers. Lenore Sellers is probably the hardest quarterback I've ever seen to tackle in college football, maybe besides Cam Newton, but I've never seen a guy escape as many sacks as Lenore Sellers does. Now, the part of that is because he has to escape a sack, it feels like, every single play because of South Carolina's offensive line issues. But there's no harder quarterback I've seen to tackle than Lenore Sellers. Now, Alabama will have to play South Carolina again this year at home. They get them in September instead of in the middle of October. I don't know if hopefully that will change things because both of those games have been struggles for Alabama. But not to get off a tangent, this is a good start off again by Yhonzae Pierre. It's the same as the last one. Does it on a tight end this time who's just kind of like he's help blocking. He's not meant to be the guy who gets Yhonzae Pierre on this play. It's supposed to be that tackle. But you can see here that he's just taken out of the play. And it looks like it's just kind of like it's not man-to-man here. The offensive line is covering gaps. And that guard does a good job of trying to get back to Yhonzae Pierre, but it's kind of a little too late. And it causes the North Sellers to throw a ball quickly that ends up being dropped. But these are the type of plays that Alabama can, take advantage of, because say he throws that ball behind him and it goes to Justin Jefferson here, or even over here, I think it was Dijon Lee. Yeah. What if he throws it behind him and it goes right to one of those guys and you're at the 10-yard line? You're in the red zone automatically for Alabama. Here's Yhonzae Pierre again, kind of lined up almost like a middle linebacker. He's in between the middle and the defensive line. He's really fast. He gets to the edge very, very well. Good job by Justin Hill there, too, to blow this up on the outside on the tight end. Good play by number 8 there. Number 8's going to be a good player, too. But, yeah, just credit to the speed there from Yhonzae Pierre. Holding the leverage there is key on this play. How this play is going to work for South Carolina is if you can get Yhonzae Pierre turned inside, because this running back, if he bounces it, if Bray Hubbard were to get caught right here, this running back has a lane to run and just a safety right there to get him. But Yhonzae Pierre holds his own and makes a good tackle. Yeah, that leverage is the key thing here. Alabama, it hurt them a lot against Florida State, especially the corners, but it's good to see that from the linebacker, especially on run stopping, because while everybody loves him for his 8 sacks, he did have 14 and a half total tackles for loss. So obviously he's good at run stopping too. Poor LSU, they had a hard time getting Yhonzae Pierre in check, especially Michael Van Buren. That was one of Yhonzae Pierre's forced fumbles of the year. He's just quick. Nothing too crazy about this play. Just very quick, bull rushing and getting to the quarterback quickly. This is a sack on Garrett Nussmeier here. Bull rush, that's very powerful, and he's very fast. So nothing Garrett Nussmeier can do. He also kind of rolls back into the sack, so that also does not help him at all either. And he had guys that Garrett Nussmeier could have thrown the ball to downfield, like maybe 0 once he hits this break right here. It'd be a tough pass over Bray Hubbard, but not going to matter when you're getting sacked. He's lined up in his usual position here. Another bull rush, and it causes a very risky throw by Nussmeier. Like I mentioned earlier, Yhonzae Pierre doing this type of stuff is going to cause errant throws to be thrown across the middle of the field, and that's going to be a problem. I like this play here. Number 14 for LSU is Trey'Dez Green. He's a 6'7" tight end, and watch how Yhonzae Pierre moves him. Trey'Dez Green plays basketball. He's like a forward, I think, for LSU. But so he's a guy that can be very physical. But watch this play right here. Just throws him off like it was nothing. 6'7", it doesn't matter. Get off me. So I'm impressed. When I watched this film, I knew that he obviously is going to have good pass rushing film, but the run stopping film is what really impressed me the most. Tennessee, he had, I think, 3 sacks in this game. He was probably their best defensive player in this game. But yeah, he was just too quick for these tackles. But this is a good play here. You run a stunt that Tennessee figures out, but he's able to get off of it and make a tackle on a tight end that potentially could get a lot of yards here. Because if these blocks are made, which they are, look at this lane right here that this tight end has. And this corner can make the play, but you have a receiver trying to block them. But Yhonzae Pierre is able to cut back and make the play right here. So it's a good saving play that you don't realize you made. Yhonzae Pierre on this play is again going to show his strength and push him right back into Joey Aguilar, who's going to try to throw it out of the end zone, and it's going to end up being intentional grounding, which results in a safety. And then we'll go here on this play. This is why the stunts are great, because it confuses him. So the running back is accounting for the linebacker here. In this type of play, the running back has to account for one of these linebackers or whichever one's going to come. His guy is going to be Deontay Lawson, and then you have 5 guys on the other 5, whereas the running back has this linebacker in particular. So you see from the get-go, he's going right towards Deontay Lawson, and then Yhonzae Pierre is going to shoot inside, and then Lawson's going to kick it back outside. So the help that the tackle would have with the running back is now gone because Lawson has shot outside, and you see how this running back, his attention is solely on Lawson, and Yhonzae Pierre already has his guy beat, and it's a straight line to the quarterback. So those stunts will help you sometimes, especially when the running back has to account for 1 or 2 of the linebackers. But you can tell from the get-go that running back was accounted for Deontay Lawson. Deshaun Bishop, I think so that is. You see his eyes are already locked on Deontay Lawson from the get-go. So it was nothing to pass off. It was just that's what they're going to have to do. Again, here, very quick play from Yhonzae Pierre. Pushes the tackle right into Joey Aguilar, causes them to have to step up in the pocket, which when the quarterbacks don't have clean pockets, that's usually a good thing. Some quarterbacks sometimes thrive better whenever they're out in the open, but not every quarterback is that way. Go to Yhonzae Pierre against Auburn, making a good run stop here. I left unblocked, but it would make the play, not let the guy get out in the open. Good stunt there again, and then kind of goes right into the play. Tim Keenan takes 2 players out of the play, and Yhonzae Pierre is able to make the play on his own. This is a really impressive play by Yhonzae Pierre, the second game against Georgia against Oscar Delp. Oscar Delp is not a tight end to mess with, and he just kind of throws him to the side. He wins with his hands. You can see whoever has control of the hands, which Yhonzae Pierre has right here, you control pretty much everything. You can throw him off of you if you want to, like he does there. You can do a lot of stuff. Next play here. He's able to read the play pretty well. This is the coverage part of Yhonzae Pierre. He has to drop back in coverage on occasion, and he's able to make a good play here on a play that was designed for the running back. Against Oklahoma, he had a really good game. The whole defensive line did. Shame that we lost Keon Keeley right here, but it's another play of him controlling with his hands. You can see it right here. Throws that guy off of him, makes the play. And then last one here is just another good pass rush where he just wins off the edge and runs right into John Mateer. He's stood up in the beginning by this tackle. The tackle does a good initial job, but with Yhonzae Pierre with his hands, throws him off of him and is able to get by and make a play. So yeah, this is the Yhonzae Pierre film that I have. I'll let it play while I talk a little bit. But 6'3", 248 pounds. He's quick, fast, and he's strong. And that's what you want to see out of your outside linebacker. While going into last year, Quay Rousseau had this job. Probably everyone didn't think that anyone would take it from him, and it happened. Yhonzae Pierre, this is his job. This is going to be his year to maybe take off even more. He had 8 sacks last year. Is it going to be even higher? Alabama revamped their defensive line, got some new linebackers too. So with that, are we going to have more pass rush, which takes more attention off of Yhonzae Pierre to allow him to maybe make some more plays? We'll see. But that is it for this video. I'm going to be posting a lot more football content throughout this off season until September, whenever we kick off. So for the next 5 months, it's just going to be a lot of football content. We're also going to have a lot of basketball content because transfer portals have to kick up into high gear. And we'll also have a lot of off-season stuff with that as well. So if you like what you see, please give us a subscription to the channel. Helps us out a lot. We're just over 1,100 subscribers, and we're on our way to get a lot more. So until then, hope everyone has a great rest of your week, and roll Tide.